Okay, let's start with introducing the ones that didn't get introduced. So yeah, Anna, you can start.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. I'm Anna. I'm a Google developer expert in Dart and Flutter. And for the last 5 years, I've been at Tide, which is a UK fintech company building the platform for small and medium businesses. And I obtained position of senior staff engineer, and we built our applications with Flutter.
Thank you. Thanks for having you. I think everybody in the community knows you already. And Nelson, can you introduce yourself?
Thank you. Hello, guys. Very happy to be here. I work at CloudWalk. We have two products today. We have Infinite Pay with more than 7 million clients in Brazil. And we have Dean.com in all the 50 states in the US. And that's it. I'm a software engineer in there. Very happy to be here.
Great. You started when you were 16, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Great to have you all here. So let's talk about end-to-end testing. And I wanted to talk today about what's the reason for end-to-end testing. What's the because times change, of course. We have AI era, agentic era, like we all talked today already, and how end-to-end testing fits in that landscape. Actually, I think Oskar already kind of gave us a spoiler during his talk. So my first question would be: does AI writing code make end-to-end tests more important than ever, or an obsolete idea that's no longer, valid? Right? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, so I can start since I already kind of gave my opinion on that. But no, I think it's out of the question. We need to pay a lot of focus right now on end-to-end tests because since we are shipping everything faster and sometimes faster than we can, then we need to test stuff. And if we don't automate it, then we would just scale our manual QA indefinitely, which probably is not a very good idea. So automation is the only way to go. And yeah, I think I don't really have any other opinion on
Right.
that.
QA engineer wants end-to-end tests to be there, right? Oh,
This question is pretty good. Like I like to say a code that you doesn't have a test. It's like a quantum particle, right? Because it's in superposition state. So basically, you need to measure that quantum particle to know the value of the quantum particle, right? So this is a code without testing, right? When you are working a bank, like with money, as Rafael said, you need to have sure what you are doing, right? So that's for me, like even with AI, before AI was already important, but with AI, it's more and more far important, right? Because a lot of the time will pass and the code generated will be more for AI than for us as human, no? And the test is the thing that measure the quantum particle for us.
nice.
Yeah, so I totally agree. Integration tests is very important. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's more important than before. I think it has always been. I think the major shift that I see is the shift of the effort going from writing code or writing tests to writing specs. Because if you have a spec that is incomplete, your agent will just fill the gap silently and will implement something you maybe didn't want to. And at the same time, if your spec is incomplete and you have an agent that writes the test, it just writes tests that confirm the code against itself rather than against a spec. So yeah, I think that's the key change I see in the future.
Right. Like in your talk, there was this prompt with an Azure ticket with a test case. So I assume you mean that the someone has to write the actual test case.
Exactly.
And it has to be pretty precise, right?
Exactly,
Like
yeah.
and accurate. Okay. Now yeah, I'm getting it. Thank you.
Well, I'm now in the hard position, and I can only actively agree with what was said.
Yes. Please do disagree.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but yeah, end-to-end tests seem to be the last guard now that we probably lose more and more interested in how exactly the code is organized, arranged, generated, and think on the higher levels of abstractions, like why we build and what exactly we build. And end-to-end tests here help us ensure we achieve this higher level of a result.
Okay, so let's get it more difficult, because it was I think the easy one. So okay, we all agree that yeah, it's even more important. But there's a question that's I got it when we were releasing Patrol MCP and Marionette MCP. It was quite similar timeline, and a lot of people said to us, I already have my code made by AI, and I'm scared of it. Why should I test with AI? If I'm scared about the AI code, why should I trust AI to write code? So my next question would be, what do you think about AI writing tests? So is it controversial for you or not, or do you think this is the future, or how, or yes but, and what's the trick? What's the catch? So what do you think? Yeah, starting with you, Anna. What, like in tight? What's before AI and after AI? Is there any change of approach, or how would you see that?
Well, I guess in terms of end-to-end tests, we're still more the old traditional way of writing them by developers. But I think it's undeniable that AI is making its way to almost any stage of the development. And if there is a tool which we cannot yet ask AI to use, is because there is no integration and it will come very soon. And in this coming reality, um, the question is not new. Like when you see code written by someone else, what do you think of it? Is it good enough? The reviewers will still play a critical part in the process, no matter who originally wrote the code. Of course, by writing more specs, more precise, non-ambiguous descriptions, we get the better outcome faster. But I don't see developers being completely eliminated from the process, because it is even more critical for us to be in the loop, review the result, and impact the outcome.
Yeah, I agree. So when you ask, should AI also write tests, and yeah, I think it should. You should just make sure that's not the same AI that wrote your code, right? Same as you would not ask your developer to write tests for his own code. So and ideally, you have an agent that doesn't even see the source code, but just writes the test according to a test spec. And that's again where the human is in the loop. I think they should be the ones who define the test specs, so define what is our expected outcome and what is according to spec or not.
Okay, that's interesting, because typically when you write code as a developer, you also write tests for it.
You write unit tests, but we're talking about integration
Yeah,
tests,
I know,
right?
I know, but it's but in that case, it's not nothing controversial that you write your own tests in the same PR, right? So why is it controversial here? That's my question.
Yeah, fair point. I think it's because it's on the on a different level. So your integration tests are testing against the specification. Kind of your if you write unit tests, you test components that you wrote yourself. So you kind of it was yourself that defined what this component should do. So you can also write the tests that verify that they do what they're intended to do. But yeah, the integration tests against a different layer, so to say. I would say.
I get the difference. Thanks.
I really like these because I think we can think in two possible scenarios. It's not scenarios, but let's use it. We have taste. That is the issue. You have everyone has this issue with AI. Like AI doesn't have any taste with for design, for software, for test. You know, like for more that is intelligent, it do not like read your mind, right? Or know your business goal, right? So you have this thing that taste keep the human in the loop, right? When AI develop taste, the human in the loop just go off the loop, right? But I think so. We have some time until there. I believe will be this time, but we have some time, and we have bias as we are talking about right now. Because like if you develop your test after the implementation, you have a lot of bias, right? As you as human, right? So like instead of like doing tests after implementing, TDD is very far important, and BDD too, like behavior-driven development, right? So you can abstract the layer of the coding for like a gherkin file of a behavior, right? And you can review the gherkin, you know? So I'm guaranteed that the behaviors are very aligned, and I can send this behavior for my agent to the agent code, right? So that's the thing. So I guarantee my taste with gherkin and behaviors, and the AI do the code, right? So that's for me the point.
Okay, so in Infinite Pay, you use AI to write the tests as well,
Yeah,
but on some different level, on
Yeah,
some layer.
I have like it's fun to say, but I do not work. I do not work some code for about like 6 months already. I just manage agents, and the agents do the code for me. I know that this can sound kind of scary, you know, but like this work, if you know how to close the loop and use the things, you can make the work. It's work pretty well, right? You just need to connect the dots.
Okay, that's interesting. Thank you for that take.
Yeah, so I think my opinion on that is that tests is something that is better suited to be written by AI than, for example, mobile code, because mobile challenges that you need to like overcome, solve problems are pretty open, so you can take different approaches, use different stuff. And for tests, I don't think test writing is as open as writing new features. So this makes AI able to, well, AI does not have so many open ways to write the same test. So we have a clear goal, especially if we define it well. And part of my presentation was that we have this test architecture in LeanCode, and actually our trigger to create it was when we started using AI agents, because we wanted to have a consistent code base. So whenever AI writes code, 80 or 90% of it will be exactly the same pattern that I would write myself. And then I can, first of all, review it very quickly. I can review PRs from other QAs, but that's a side benefit of that architecture. So yeah, it helps a lot, and that's why I think AI can be used for that. You just need to keep refining it to write the code exactly as you would. But for testing, in my opinion, it's easier than development.
Okay, now, interesting. So the hypothesis is that tests are even more deterministic in writing than the feature code. So if we agree on using AI with feature code, the more we should agree using AI for the test code. That's actually interesting, and it seems logical to me. Thank you for that. Okay, before we go to the next topic, I think we can. If you have if we have any questions from the room, from the audience, I can see one. I think we can take it.
Yeah, hi, I'm George from Aventus IT, and I wanted to ask, like you were talking about writing the code, feature code with AI, then writing tests with AI, and then the burden is on reviewer to review all that. And now I think some of you know that I have this colleague that produces with AI code that is like comparable to Tolkien book each week. So it's beginning to be a bottleneck to review the code and review it consciously, not just press approve button. So now we're talking about reviewing the code with AI itself. So closing the full loop and doing everything with AI. So what do you think? Is it a sensible thing to do? Is there any caveats or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, I have a mic, but I can very quickly just give my input. So I think AI reviewing code is fine as long as there is another human at the end of this process. So you can have initial review made by AI, and the original developer can then fix or reject those comments. But for me, that would be like the end game, and I wouldn't go any further than that because it seems super risky. So, and that's just my opinion.
Yeah. We use AI reviews in Patrol as a glorified linter, so that then still a human being has to look at it.
Like, I think for now, for sure, humans should look at code, but you can, I think AI reviews, right? You need to, like, every time iterate, should each iteration be better reviewing, and you need to kind of mix a thing, like you need to mix non-deterministic, that is the AI, the entropy machine we have today, and deterministic, right? So analyzer plugin, it's a very great thing that the Flutter team did launch. And like, if you can use both things to like trying to remove humans of this loop, right? And this is my goal, right? I want to be removed of this loop. I want to do something that generates value to my clients. I do not want to be worried about like the syntax of my code, right? I just have to, I just need to be sure that the things work, I can read, and I can trust, you know? So this is a very interesting step. And I think the answer is in trying to mix non-deterministic with deterministic checks. So if you do this, and for sure reviewing the skills of your AI and making your AI review improve, self-improve, right? So if you have an AI agent that is reviewing your PR and you give feedbacks to the AI agent, and in the end of the day, the AI agents open a PR, improving its self-skill, right? You have a kind of self-healing loop of AI review, right? So, but you for sure need to be very, very critical and review all these things until you close the loop.
Yeah, so I also think in the future that's where we're heading, right? So to fully close the loop, and then exactly it's the question of code ownership. So who, if you don't have the human in the loop anymore, do you really rely on AI? But I think at some point in the future, your code is just an artifact like your binary right now. Nobody checks the app binary really, and that's we're moving one layer up. So your verification is then on the test, exactly, right? You have the integration test to verify that the code that was produced does what it's expected to do. Although these are only the functional requirements, of course, then you have to make sure, okay, how do I also make sure that the code actually meets my non-functional requirements, that it's maintainable, scalable, so that I can still continue with development in the future. And I think these are the questions that we have to solve in the future, like how do we guarantee this?
Makes sense.
A small addition to everything that was said, once again, actively agreeing with everyone. Just to point out that in this era of AI, it doesn't mean we have to throw away all the tens of years of good practices our industry has developed. And if we remember the good old red-green refactor, there is a refactor step. So even if the code is produced by AI, it doesn't mean it has to be sloppy. We can ask it to actually refine, refactor until it's small, concise, deterministic, and actually reviewable.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do we have
I just like to follow up
Yeah.
here. I heard a phrase in a talk that I really, really strongly agree. And I say to some people, like, for more that some guys are saying code is cheap, and I agree, bad code is more expensive than ever, right? So you need to care about like the code quality and software fundamentals more than ever, you know? So I think this abstraction require will be more and more and more important.
Okay, that's actually a great glue to the next topic, the thing you mentioned. So if we have any more questions, we can take that after this, because the last of my questions would be where human should be, right? So we're talking human in the loop, but where in that loop? Where like you mentioned, architecture still has to be good, or even better than before. Like it's more important even. So how to check that architecture? Should we have, I don't know, architecture links, architecture AI review, architecture human review? So do we need more architects? Architects, maybe, I don't know. This is my question. Where should be the human in this loop? Human in the loop, it's easy to say, but now we have to think about what, in your opinion, is something that's very unique to human, like something that's most beneficial to have human there. Who wants to start?
Yeah, so I can start already. So in my opinion, yeah, the thought of closing the loop completely terrifies me, to be honest. But I think as of now, and this is what we are doing currently, we are just trying to put all of our knowledge together to write the rules, lints, stuff like that, so we can refine the AA code. So it just write it better, then maybe we can review it more easily. But yeah, this is, I think, the hottest thing right now, to just try to polish AI stuff however you can. So yeah, all of the tools that are available, you can. It's very tiring process, because there is no really, you cannot just write like 100 tests and run it against different sets of cursor rules or cloud skills to evaluate which is the best, which is a pain. But we need to do that any time.
So you mean human is there to refine AI? So human is there to edit skills, edit rules, fix them, update them, and
Yeah.
so that it's still AI, but human is there to make it better every day.
Yeah,
That's
so
right,
the first
that-
thing I would do would to tell my colleague to stop writing Tolkien in his PRs. So that would be the first rule that I would write after this. So yeah, that's the only thing that I can add here.
Great point. I really agree with that. I like call it this the loop closer. Like I think this can be the head title in LinkedIn, right? It's very cool, right? Loop closing engineering.
agentic loop closer.
Yeah,
right?
identical loop
Already
closer.
cla-
You know, like we
plus
have
100.
prompting, we have harness, we have
Respect.
context engineering. Now we have close looper, loop closers engineering, right? So, but that's a very true thing, you know, like you need to close the loop basically, and each person have a set of very specific knowledge in its specific area, you know. So each one can help closing the loop in each area, you know. So if you have this compounding and everyone looking at this goal to close the loop, you for sure will have a great time in the future.
Yeah, I can talk about our case specifically. So very clearly for us, we still gonna need manual testing for quite a while. AI can write code, but it cannot use your headphone and turn it on or off. Not yet, at least. I think that's where we still have humans in the loop and will have for quite some while. And as said, I think also, as said in the beginning, I think it's really shifting towards writing more complete specs. So you really have, this is because only the human knows what the AI should do. So really, that's I think where we need to focus in the future.
Right.
Yeah, I would place humans, at least at this point, in both ends. First, the participation of human before even the development starts. And in this era where basically anyone can decide they can contribute to the code base, because here is my favorite AI agent, the role of platform teams building these skills, specs, guiding principles, placing them as close to the code base and AI as possible, this role is even more important, so that anyone indeed can can jump into the code base and contribute meaningfully, and the result will be of acceptable quality. And then we are still at the end of the process being a reviewer until AI gets as so good that we actually eliminate ourselves completely.
That's interesting. So before I have one more question for you before we jump to the audience questions, because you all touched on the topic of the workflow and how you do the whole product, like the whole process. And I know we already talked about it in a previous panel, but my question is, what do you think your software development lifecycle workflow, all the tools that you use, either Jira or DevOps or there are a lot of tools on the way, like Confluence, I don't know, some RFCs, a lot of stuff that were before. Have they changed for you because of the AI era? Or do you think you are right now changing the workflow, or you're gonna change the workflow because of that? Or you rather leave it the same, but you want to use AI with the existing one? So because of that, what you mentioned, like something's changed, like easier to contribute, or like cross-team communication is different, or like you mentioned, you don't want to actually be in that loop in the end. So my last question is about that. Like, is your workflow, like, Kanban and all that stuff, is that changing? Or in your opinion, like, your blind guess is that, or rather informed guess, is that is gonna change or not in your company?
Well, if I had to guess, well, okay, I hope it stays more human friendly than AI friendly, at least for some time, because yeah, we are in the loop, and I hope that our process is accommodating for our needs as well. We know that AI generated code is only a portion of what the entire software development cycle consists of, and having this part faster did not necessarily speed up the other parts of it, like alignment between the teams, etc. So we are still pretty much there, and I hope these tools kind of still remained friendly to us humans.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we definitely will have to adapt the processes to help UI or allow AI to help us the best way possible. Starting with the creation of the requirements of the user stories. Currently, there is no AI involved in that, but there is so much potential for AI to be part of the refinements, to ask the questions, to fill the gaps in the specification, automatically create documentation from that, write your user stories maybe. Then also, how do you collaborate with designers? How code is generated from the designs, but also the way back, like code changes reflected again in your Figma files, for example. I think there are a lot of touch points where AI can support, and we are really just beginning to explore and adapt our workflows to that.
Cool. Thanks.
About workflows, I think I give like a brief commentary about deterministic ones, but I think we have a new kind of testing, end-to-end testing starting, is the non-deterministic testing that I think Marionette will make this more and more possible, for sure. And I have a really great case to share with you all that is basically at InfinityPay, we had a hard time with performance at low-end devices, right? And because the app is huge, we iterate so faster, then sometimes you need to assume some debts. And the time comes to pay these debits, right? And we wanted to find the things that was most impacting in performance, right? So instead of like engineering's 2 engineering's wasting time, like finding and debugging. What we did, we basically at the time, Andrej published a concept called out research, right? And some group of guys publish extension to a harness that we use. It's called pi.dev. It's a minimal harness that is very extensible. So we got this extension of out research, right? And this harness with this extension basically does like A/B tests, infinite A/B tests, right? So the thing that we did basically was we teach the agent how to navigate through the app in a non-deterministic way, like Marionette does, right? I just use another CLI at the time, but Marionette will fit very good in this workflow. And after teaching and have all the environment set up to do profiling of memory footprint, right? I leave the agent and the harness running at the night, and when I woke up at the morning, we had improved the app by 30%, right? Just from nothing. We found 2 major issues that we have a long time ago from years, and I found just doing A/B, right? Just testing thing and measuring. So we have this deterministic part for sure that we are already talked, and we have this non-deterministic, and we can use for a lot of things, right? Performance, optimization, and other things that we didn't look for right now, you know.
That's very interesting. But all the stuff that you all described need humans, right? To figure it out. Figure out like the idea, and then I can do it, right? But the idea was in your head.
Yeah, so from my side, besides writing code, which has improved because of AI by a whole lot, I can say that I didn't find any use cases when my day-to-day work would change dramatically because of some AI tools. I try to stay open-headed and try out whenever something posts something cool they found on Twitter, like, I don't know, using Claude to find time slots for meetings with people, or connecting it to Slack and responding to people with Claude. So there are a lot of gimmicks, but yeah, at least from my perspective, nothing that would really change. I found one particular example when maybe that's not good, maybe that's good, but I wanted to make a copy of a post hoc project, and I didn't find any way to do it. So I just used post hoc MCP to do it. So my AA just scrapped everything and recreated the project. So that was cool, but I still wish that was a normal feature. But maybe, first of all, maybe I missed. Maybe this is a thing that you can do. But yeah, I think there is a pretty often case where people implement a new feature only for AI and they forget that there is some human interfaces in there. We'll see.
Yeah, that's also interesting that many times we would like to have some feature in a tool that we use, and if there's not there, but there's an API or MCP, now with I don't know, Cloud Code or anything, we can just augment that feature that we would need. That's pretty nice. All right, thank you. We can, I think, we can take one or more questions. Are we okay with time? Can we take a question? Does anybody has any question? Have any question to one of our panelists?
Hi, my name is Andrei. I'm from M12 Media, which is subsidiary of Kadokawa. My question is, well, do you think we are maybe way too enthusiastic about adopting AI everywhere? Like, I mean, in my experience, a little bit that, well, we discussed that reviewing code may be bad, may be good. But in my experience, writing code never was a problem. It was a problem to write a code that works and work reliably, right? And actually, AI helps here quite tremendously, right? You can write code and ask AI to review and find some flaws and issues. So in this case, and oppositely, like when I try to generate code a lot with AI, it usually generates a lot of some race conditions, for example. It's quite common for some reason in my experience that it generates a lot of race conditions. and binary can also, well, bloat quite significantly because it can generate also a lot of code, right? So that's my question, I think. Thank you.
Who wants to tackle that?
I think I can try. Like it has a great example that I can give. Like LLMs are like entropy machines, right? Like it just get entropy. You did input and get output that you doesn't have like the certainty. And I don't know if you already saw like when a person get like an image of a dog put in Gemini or other AI, not too harsh in Gemini. Like you put like recreate this image with exact pixels, right? And the AI will not recreate the image exactly, right? Because it generates entropy with time, with using without boundaries and guardrails, right? So the challenge when we are talking about writing good code with AI is how do we make great guardrails for AI? So that's the thing about how can you mix like non-deterministic skills and set of prompts with deterministic, you know? And I bet in more deterministic checks than the non-deterministic one because of that example that I did.
Nice. So that's interesting.
Well, I guess at this point we can treat AI, well, sometimes as a junior developer, sometimes as intermediary level, and clearly developers who have more experience have judgment about this code. And to make it better, probably we should get better at breaking down the task to smaller pieces until the context window is kind of limited. Making specification more clear, once again, writing requirements and specs before the development. So we also still have a way to go to learn how to use AI in the most efficient way, while it also improves and gets better at writing code tests and many more tasks.
So we shouldn't resist it. We just need to adapt and make it work good for us, right? Okay. Would you like anything to add? Okay, I think we're good. Thank you everyone. Thanks our panelists, and thank you all for participating and for your great thoughts and experience that you shared with us. Right, thank you all, and big round of applause for our participants.